Okay, good morning. There are more than 20 students in our class. Therefore, I hope to start my session. Then today I'm going to talk about principles of Buddhist economics. Principles of Buddhist economics.
Principles of Buddhist economics. Minimizing suffering. The underlying principle of the Buddhist economics is to minimize suffering of all sentient beings, including non-human beings. From the Buddhist viewpoint, a project is worthy to be undertaken if it can reduce the suffering of all those who are affected.
Then according to the Buddhist principles of Buddhist economics, the first one is minimizing suffering. වේදනාව අවම කිරීම නැත්නම් යම් කිසි කෙනෙකුට සිදුවෙන කරදර ප්‍රමාණය අවම කිරීම, minimizing suffering. Then when we are talking about Buddhist minimizing suffering, it lead to minimize suffering of all sentient being, all human, including non-human being also. මිනිස්සු වගේම මිනිස්සු නොවන අනෙකුත් සියලුම දේවල් මේකි සලකා බලන්න. Then minimizing suffering of all sentient beings, including non-human beings. Then according to Buddhist view, a project is worthy. How we are evaluating project? The project is worthy if it can reduce the suffering of all those who are affected. For example, if we are going to introduce a project in a village, then we have to assess profit or the benefit of the project, as well as what are the suffering of each parties. What is the amount of suffering by each party, and try to minimize the suffering of all parties. That is the meaning of minimizing suffering.
Any change in economic activity systems that reduces suffering should be welcomed. The suffering minimizing principles can be formulated to reveal that the goal of economic activities is not to produce gains but to decrease losses.
Then, according to Buddhism, the change in economic activity system that reduce suffering should be welcome. Reduce suffering should be welcome. We have to welcome reducing the suffering. Suffering එක අඩු කිරීම තමයි අපි උත්සාහ කරන්නේ. The suffering minimizing principle can be formulated to reveal that the goal of economic activities is not to produce gain. Then what is the economic purpose or method of doing economic activities? Not to producing gain, ලාභ උපරීම කිරීම නෙවෙයි, but to reduce or decrease losses. We have to concern the losses, not the gain of the human or the people. We have to concern losses. පාඩු වීම මොනවාද කියන එක තමයි අපි සලකා බැලිය යුත්තේ.
Simplifying desires.
This is the second principle. Then first one, minimizing suffering. The second one, simplify desires.
Modern economics cultivates desires. People are encouraged to develop new desires for things to acquire and for activities to do. But psychological research shows that materialistic value orientation undermines well-being.
Then, as you know, economic people try to increase the desires. So cultivate the desires. If they are failed to cultivate desires, there is no market or good profit. Therefore, people are encouraged to develop new desires. Then when you are watching TV, there are many advertisements. The advertisement explain different hidden requirements. Then you have many cream to apply your skin. Then there are different things you can use, different drinking you can use to shape your body. Likewise, then new desires are offered by the market because of the competition. However, here's a psychological research shows that materialistic value orientation undermine the well-being of human. Then psychological research reveal materialistic value orientation. If you are concerned the material thing, material orientation, material things, then if your mind is oriented to material thing, then it lead to a low well-being. මේ භෞතික දේවල් ගැන වැඩියෙන් ආසාව තියෙන අයගේ well-being එක සුබ සාධනය අඩුයි කියලා කියනවා.
People who are highly focused on materialistic values have lower personal well-being and psychological health than those who believe that materialistic pursuits are relatively unimportant. Study sample people ranging from the wealthy to the poor, from teenagers to the elderly, and from Australians to South Koreans.
This study done for considering different category of the sample. The sample consists of wealthy people, poor people, teenagers, as well as elderly people from Australian to South Korea region. Then the study emphasize people who are highly focused on materialistic value. If you are highly focused on materialistic value, have lower personal well-being. Lower personal well-being is the outcome of highly materialistic people. And psychological health, the second one is psychological health, uh, personal well-being and psychological health. Then those who are believe that materialistic pursuits are relatively unimportant. Then there are two category. One category, the people in one category believe materialistic values are important. Other one believe uh, materialistic values are not important. When compared with these two groups, the first group, materialistic oriented group, present lower personal well-being and psychological unhealth than the second group.
According to the study, strong materialistic values are associated with pervasive undermining of people's well-being, from low life satisfaction and happiness, more depression and anxiety, more physical problems such as headaches, personality disorders, narcissism and antisocial behavior.
Then according to this study, they emphasize the person who is strongly oriented to material values, then those people present these five qualities. First one, pervasive undermining of people's well-being. Undermining of people's well-being. First one. Second one, from low life satisfaction and happiness. Then you have more material item, but your satisfaction and happiness remain very low. Then third one, more depression and anxiety. Anxiety. Then depression. Your mind is not free. You are suffering diseases, different mind-oriented diseases. Then more physical problems such as headache. Then you are suffering headache because of material things. The last one, personality disorder. Personality disorder, narcissism and antisocial behavior. Narcissism, narcissism mean drugs, using the drugs. Then you are addicted to the drugs and you are presenting antisocial behavior, the behavior against to the social because of strong material orientation.
Personality disorders, narcissism and antisocial behavior. Buddhist strategy is just the opposite of the Western one. It suggests not to multiply but to simplify our desires. Minimum material comfort, which includes enough food, clothing, shelter and medicine, it is wise to try to reduce one's desires.
Then what is the Buddhist teaching? What is the Buddhist viewpoint? Then Buddhist viewpoint emphasize simplifying the desires. Desires are to be simplified. Desires are to be simplified. When minimum material orientation lead to what? Enough food. Minimum material comfort mean enough food, not more food. Enough cloth, not more cloth. Enough shelter, not more or big shelter. Enough medicine, not more medicine. Then if you are enjoying enough food, enough cloth, enough shelter, enough medicine, then you can reduce your desires. ඔබගේ ආශාවන් පාලනය කරන්න පුළුවන් හැම දෙයකම ප්‍රමාණවත් foods. ප්‍රමාණවත් foods, ප්‍රමාණවත් cloth, ප්‍රමාණවත් නිවාස, ප්‍රමාණවත් වෛද්‍ය පහසුකම් වලින් ඔයාලා ජීවත් වෙන්න උත්සාහ කරොත් මේ desires ප්‍රමාණය අඩු කරගන්න පුළුවන්. Then, according to the Buddhism, we have to practice what? Reduce our desires. Eh? We have to practice reducing our desires.
Practicing non-violence.
Then third principle is practicing non-violence.
Paul Samuelson, economics textbook, selected the motto, "Even a parrot can become an economist." Well, what he should learn is only two words: supply and demand.
Then I think you have good idea about the economic two concept of the economy, supply and demand. Then according to the Paul Samuelson, here said then parrot become a economics. If parrot become a economics, ගිරවෙක් ආර්ථික විශේෂඥයෙක් වුණොත් will what he should learn මොනවාද ඉගෙන ගන්නේ? Only two words, වචන දෙකයි. Supply and demand. Then supply and demand highly depend on the market situation. Then we are talking about market economy. Then market economy explains supply and demand. Market economy needs supply and demand. Supply, why we are supplying? Because of the demand. Why we are demand for, we are demanding. Why? Because of our desires. Then when more desires, it means more demand. If there is a more demand at the market, then we are going to supply, more supply. Then demand and supply determine the progress of the market, progress of the economy, progress of the people's income, increasing of the people income. Therefore, Western practice emphasize supply and demand.
Market is a powerful institution. It can provide goods and services in a flexible and productive way, but it has its own limitations. Limitations of the market comes from non-represented stakeholders, underrepresented stakeholders, myopic stakeholders.
Then market, according to the demand and supply, market is powerful mechanism, powerful place, institutions. It can provide goods and services in a flexible and productive way. We know our market provide goods and services in flexible and productive way. However, when we are concerned in our market, there are several limitations. I already explained these limitations. What are the limitations? Non-represented stakeholders. Non-represented stakeholders. Then second one, underrepresented stakeholders. Underrepresented stakeholders. Represent නොකරන stakeholders ලා ඉන්නවා. අඩුවෙන් represent කරන stakeholders ලා ඉන්නවා. The third one is myopic stakeholders.
Primordial stakeholders such as nature and future generations are simply not represented in the market because they do not have a vote, in terms of purchasing power. They can't represent their interest in the language of supply and demands.
Then it is clear primordial stakeholder like nature and future generation, they have a vote or voice of purchasing products because their nature is controlled by people. Future generation is not visible in the present. Therefore, they cannot represent their interest in language of supply and demand of the market. Then how nature involved to determine supply and demand? How nature make the voice in the market regarding supply and demand? මේ පරිසරයට පුළුවන්ද අපේ මාකට් එක තුලට ඇවිල්ලා අපිත් එක්ක එකිනෙකට වාඩි වෙලා ඩිමාන්ඩ් එකයි සප්ලයි එකයි තීරණය කරන්න. එයාට හැකියාවක් නැහැ. අපේ අනාගත පරපුරට පුළුවන්ද දැන් තියෙන මාකට් එකට ඇවිල්ලා සප්ලයි එකයි ඩිමාන්ඩ් එකයි තීරණය කරන්න. අපේ අනාගත පරපුරට වාලගේ ළමයිට මේ වගේ අයට දැන් මාකට් එකට ඇවිල්ලා ඩිමාන්ඩ් එකයි සප්ලයි එකයි තීරණය කරන්න බෑ. එතකොට දැන් සප්ලයි එකයි ඩිමාන්ඩ් එකයි තියෙන්නේ කරන්නේ මිනිස්සු. දැන් ඉන්න මිනිස්සු. එතකොට ඩිමාන්ඩ් ඇන්ඩ් සප්ලයි එක අපි කතා කරනකොට වෙස්ටර්න් ඉකොනොමික්ස් එකේ ඒක represent කරන්නේ නෑ primordial stakeholders. When we are talking about the market demand and supply concept, it doesn't represent or it ignore primordial stakeholders like nature and the future generations.
Poor and marginalized people are underrepresented because they do not have enough purchasing power to signal their preferences in the market.
Then what is the nature of the poor and marginalized people? They can come to the market, but their power is not enough to bargain with the mechanism of supply and demand. මේ සැපයුම සහ ඉල්ලුම කියන මෙකැනිසම් එකට බාගේන් කරන්න මේ පුවර් සහ මාර්ජිනලයිස් මිනිස්සුන්ට හැකියාවක් නැහැ. එතකොට එහෙනම් ඩිමාන්ඩ් ඇන්ඩ් සප්ලයි එක තුල ඉකොනොමි එක තුල තියෙන ඩිමාන්ඩ් ඇන්ඩ් සප්ලයි එක තුල මේ පුවර් පීපල්ස්ලා මාර්ජිනලයිස් පීපල්ලා රෙප්‍රසන්ට් වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියන එකයි කියන්නේ.
Stakeholders who are well represented in the market, they have enough purchasing power, often behavior on a myopic way.
Then when we are concerned in the reality of the market, then the demand and supply are determined by well represented people or the people who have enough purchasing power, more powerful people. The more powerful people determine the demand and the supply in the market situation. That is the reality.
They heavily discount values of the products and services in the space and the time. Market price usually reflect the values of the strongest stakeholders and favor preferences for them.
Then what is the market price? According to the market economy, Western economy or our economy, the value of the market price is determined by the strongest stakeholders. Then the price usually reflect the value of the strongest stakeholders and favor preferences of them. මේ ශක්තිමත් ස්ටේක් හෝල්ඩර්ස් තමයි උනන්දුවක් දක්වන අය තමයි මාකට් එකේ ප්‍රයිස් එක තීරණය කරන්නේ. සහ මාකට් එකට දෙන බඩු මොනවාද කියලා තීරණය කරන්නේ. සර්විස් එක මොකක්ද කියලා තීරණය කරන්නේ. Favor preferences, what kind of product we are offering, what kind of service we are providing. Then you can imagine the power of the strongest stakeholder. The power of the strongest stakeholder mean they are the people determine the market price and value of the product or service.
Non-violence, ahimsa, is the main guiding principles of Buddhism for solving social problems. It is requested that an act does not cause harm to the doer or the receivers. A good example is community economy model.
Then, what is the Buddhist idea? Then Buddhist teaching emphasize non-violence, ahimsa. අහිංසාව කියන්නේ අහිංසා අහිංසාවෙන් ජීවත් වෙන්න කියන්නේ හිංසාවක් නැතුව ජීවත් වෙන්න කියන්නේ. Then you have to live with non-violence. Then non-violence is the main guiding principle of Buddhism for solving social problems. Then in the Western from the Western philosophical point, we are talking about demand and supply or the pre-market. When we are concerning pre-market, there are different social issues regarding natural environment or future generations of the poor people, marginalized people. There are social issues. Then, according to the Buddhism, we have to practice non-violence. The non-violence lead to solving social problems such as poor people, prime, non, uh, ma, ma, natural environment, future generation, marginalized people, then all these people can be treated through non-violence concept. It is the represented that an act does not cause harm. What is the meaning of non-violence? Non-violence means the action is not to lead to cause the harm. Then act does not cause harm. The harm, not harm, lead to two parties. One is doer, producer, or the creator, the receiver, customer, doer and the receiver. Then we have to balance non-violence for the doers and the receivers. නිෂ්පාදකයා හෝ ඉදිරිපත් කරන්නා මෙන්ම පාරිභෝගිකයා ලබන්නා non violence එකට ගොදුරු වෙන්න ඕන නැත්නම් non violence එක අනුව සිද්ධ වෙන්න ඕන කියන එක තමයි කියන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ harm එකක් වෙන්න බෑ. There is not a harm for doers as well as receiver. Doer ට harm එකක් වෙන්නත් බෑ, receiver ට harm එකක් වෙන්නත් බෑ. Then there is an example for the economy. The economy is community economy model. Then we will see what is the community economy model.
Community economy model. Communities of producers and consumers are formed to meet both their needs at the lowest cost and reduced risk by a long-term arrangement.
Then according to this model, economic model, producer and consumer, two parties, producer and consumer are formed to meet both their needs. Then producer present their needs, consumer present their needs with an lower cost, lowest cost. අඩුම පිරිවැයට නිෂ්පාදකයක් කියනවා මට දෙන්න පුළුවන් අඩුම පිරිවැය මේක, පාරිභෝගික කියන මට ගන්න පුළුවන් මිල මේක කියලා ඇග්‍රීමන්ට් එකක් එනවා. lowest cost and reduce risk. risk එක අඩු කරනවා. දැන් අද පොල් ගෙඩිය රුපියල් 80යි, හෙට පොල් ගෙඩිය 105යි. එතකොට risk එකක් තියෙනවා. එහෙම වෙන්නේ නැතිව reduce risk by long term arrangement, long term agreement එකක් තියෙනවා. long term agreement එකක්. They are practicing long term agreement because of keeping lower cost and reduce the risk. risk එක අවම කරන්නයි, cost එක අඩු කරන්නයි long term agreement එකක් තියෙනවා කවුරු අතරද? producer and the consumer. Use local resources to meet the need of local people. Then the other one is
use local resources to meet the needs of local people rather than the wants of markets for a way.
Then if we are limit to our region, our area, our territory, then we can fulfill our desires from the things produced within our area. That is the idea given by this model. Then use local resources to meet the need of local people. For the example, when we are concerning our country, we are trying to satisfy our desires using our products. අපිට චයිනීස් ආහාර ඕන නෑ, අපිට ඇමරිකන් දේවල් ඕන නෑ, අපිට ජැපනීස් වෙහිකල් ඕන නෑ. Then we try to fulfill our desires from our local productions, local resources, local services. Then it automatically then it lead to become a simplified people, creating a simplified people. සරල මිනිස්සු බවට පත් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. If we are looking for the Japanese market, American market, Indian market, then looking those market mean we are developing our desires, we are increasing our desires. අපේ ආශාවන් වැඩි කිරීම තමයි කරන්න කියලා කියනවා.
World prices do not determine what will be produced, and the key production processes need to be run entirely without inputs from the world system. This is based on self-reliance that is closely linked to ecological sustainability.
Then if we are concerning our local territory, local resources, then why we are bothering about the world price? Huh? We are not talking about the price of oil in India. Why we are talking about the price in India or Japan or Australia? Huh? Then we are determine our price. World price do not determine what will be produced, and the key production processes need to be run entirely without input from the world system. We ignore the other area, other territory, other region. Then we are concerning our region. This is based on self-reliance that is closely linked to ecological sustainability. Then we are concerned in our territory as well as we are talking about, we are oriented ecological sustainability. මේ කැලෑ ගස් ගස් කොළන් සත්තු වගේ ජෛව විද්‍යා පරිසරයට සංවේදී වෙන්න ඕන සස්ටේනබිලිටි ඒක ආරක්ෂා කරගන්න පුළුවන් වෙන විදියට තමයි මේ ලෝකල් ප්‍රොඩක්ෂන් එක යන්න ඕන. දැන් මේ දවස්වල වැඩියෙන්ම කතා කරන දෙයක් තමයි ඉකොලොජිකල් සස්ටේනබිලිටි. අලුත් ගවර්න්මන්ට් එකට අලුත් ජනාධිපතිතුමාට තියෙන ලොකු ප්‍රශ්නයක් තමයි ඒ අයගේ ප්‍රතිවිරුද්ධ පක්ෂයෙන් ලොකු චෝදනාවක් ඇති කරන මේ ecological sustainability. ගියාන්දුවටත් තිබුණු ප්‍රශ්නයක් තමයි ecological sustainability ගැන නොහිතපු එක. Then currently there are many people raise about economical sustainability. Is the government practicing sustainability of the ecological system for the future generation? Then they are going to drastically reduce our jungles, forestry. Then certain trees which are very rare in the world. Then, according to the Buddhism, we have to practice in non-violence. When we are practicing non-violence, we have to limit our requirement within our region. Then it lead to simplify our desires and reduce to practicing non-violence. We can practice non-violence through limiting our region.
Practice living within limits. Achieving ecological sustainability and non-violence, organizational structures should be altered with appropriate ways.
Then living within limits. That is the economical philosophy of community economic model. Then you have to live in within limits. සීමාවන් තුල ඉඳගෙන ජීවත් වීමයි කරන්නේ. Achieving ecological sustainability and non-violence, organization structure should be altered with appropriate way. When we are talking about the organization structure, we have to think about how to alter the structure according to the ecological and non-violent system. Then there is an issue. Then we are living in the competitive and technological oriented global economy. Then without globalization, how we are survive in the market, in the society? That is, I think that is the reality. However, this model emphasizes living within limits. සීමාවක් තුල ජීවත් විය යුතුයි. Then sometimes you imagine this is not the practice. This is not a practical thing. මේක practical නැද්ද කියලා හිතෙන්න පුළුවන්. Living within limits. When we are going to market, there are different items displayed by the different marketer. When we are watching those things, then automatically many desires are coming in our mind. Why looking those things? Huh? සාප්පුවකට ගියාම තියෙන දේවල් දැක්කම අනේ මේක ගන්න හිතනවා කියලා හිතෙනවා. But if you are limiting to your region, එකම region එකක නම් ඔබ ජීවත් වෙන්නේ, එක පළාතක නම් ඔබ ජීවත් වෙන්නේ, ඔබ දකින්න දේ විතරයි දන්නේ. එතකොට මේ දකින්න දේ අනුව තමයි ලයිෆ් එක හදාගන්නේ. එතකොට සරලයි, desires අඩුයි, ජීවත් වෙන්න පහසුයි. මොකද Taman දකින්න දේ, Tamanට තියෙන දේ, පළාතේ තියෙන දේ අනුව තමයි ජීවත් වෙන්නේ. Living within limits. එතකොට ගහකොළට ආදරය කරගෙන මිනිස්සුන්ට හාම් එකක් නොවි ජීවත් වෙන්න පුළුවන් වෙනවා. මොකද සංකීර්ණ නොවන desires නිසා. මේ සම්පූර්ණම විනාශය වෙන්නේ desires වල සංකීර්ණතාවය, complexity of desires, unlimited and complexity of desires. අපේ desires are complex and unlimited. Therefore, there is a market competition and violence. Violence එකයි competition එකයි එන්න ප්‍රධාන හේතු වෙන්නේ මේ desires වල ප්‍රශ්නය නිසා.
This means they're emphasizing profit maximization and market systems and introduce small-scale, locally adaptable, culturally diverse ways of engaging in substantive economic activity.
Then, this community economy model emphasizes de-emphasizing profit maximization. Then they are not talking about profit maximization, market system, and they introduce small scale, locally adaptable, and culturally diverse business activities. That is the community economy model. Then through the community economy model, we can practice non-violence. This is the third principle. Then what is the
Genuine
fourth one?
care. In modern Western economics, the value of an entity is determined by its marginal contribution to the production output. A project is considered worthy of undertaking if and only if its discounted cash flow is positive.
Then fourth principle is genuine care. Genuine care. Modern Western economics, the value of the entity is determined by its marginal contribution to the production output. Then they consider marginal contribution to the production output. A project is considered wealthy of undertaking if and only if its discounted cash flow is positive. I think you have idea about discounted cash flow. Then you already learn, you are third year now, you are already learn finance management. Then finance management explain discounted cash flow. Then under the Western economy, modern economy, traditional economy, the project is worth or accepted considering the cash flow. If cash flow is positive, then project is accepted.
Buddhist economics proposes to abandon this kind of calculative thinking. It urges taking genuine care of all the beings affected by one's action.
Then what is the Buddhist idea? The Buddhist idea against to the calculative thinking. Then Western people think about how calculative thinking. Calculative thinking. Then Buddhist economic processes to abandon අත්හරිනවා this kind of calculative thinking. අපේ thinking එක ගණිත ආකාරයෙන් යන්නේ. හරි 1000ක් දුන්නා ලබන අවුරුද්දේ 100යි ඊළඟ අවුරුද්දේ 200යි ඊළඟ අවුරුද්දේ 400යි calculative thinking. then අපි ඉන්නේ කරන project එක success කියලා. Then Buddhist economy emphasizes don't think calculatively. It urged taking genuine care of all the beings affected by one's action. Then, according to Buddhism, we have to assess, we have to think genuine care of the single action of a person. මම කඩයක් දැම්මොත් මම මොකක් හරි භාණ්ඩයක් ඉදිරිපත් කරොත් මොකද ඒකෙන් අනිත් අයට සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ කියලා අපි සලකා බලන්න ඕන. It urged thinking genuine care of all the being affected by one's action. එක්කෙනෙකුගේ action එක නිසා අනික සියලුම humans being කියලා කියන්නේ මිනිසුන්ට සත්‍යයන්ට ඇති වෙන genuine care එක මොකක්ද? දැන් අපි මම අපි කුඩු විකුණනවා නම් මගේ ඇක්ෂන් එක නිසා ළමයිට වෙන්නේ මොනවාද, වැඩිහිටියන්ට වෙන්නේ මොකද්ද, පොලිසියට වෙන්නේ මොකද්ද, සමාජයට වෙන්නේ මොකද්ද, මේ ජෙනුයින් කියා එක බලන්න කියලා කියනවා. අර කෑෂ් ෆ්ලෝ එක නෙවෙයි බලන්නේ, ජෙනුයින් කියා එක.
Caring organizations are rewarded for the higher costs of their socially responsible behavior by their ability to form commitments among owners, managers and employees and to establish trust relationships with customers and subcontractors.
Then according to Buddhists, we have to practice in our organization, we have to practice genuine care within our organization. Then organization become a genuine organization, caring organization. Then genuine care practiced by, when genuine care practiced by the organization, then organization is labeled as caring organization. Then caring organization are rewarded. Reward for the higher cost of their socially responsible behavior by their ability to form commitment among owners, managers, employees. Then when company presenting their genuine care, then it needs more money, high cost for socially responsible behavior. However, there is a big commitment among owners, managers, and employee. Then employee feel the company practicing genuine care. Manager feel company practicing genuine care. Then owner feel managers and employees are committed because of genuine care. Then, and to establish trust with relationship with customer and the subcontractor. Through the genuine care, we can build strong net with customer and the contractor, subcontractor, suppliers. Why? Presenting genuine care. Therefore, company has to invest money for presenting genuine care. Presenting genuine care, not the calculative thinking, not thinking about cash flow, future cash flows.
Robert Frank developed 5 distinct types of cases when socially responsible organizations are rewarded for the higher cost of caring. Opportunistic behavior can be avoided between owners and managers. Getting moral satisfaction, employees are ready to work more for lower salaries. High-quality new employees can be recruited. Customers' loyalty can be gained. The trust of subcontractors can be established.
Then Robert Frank, a person who is, I think, studied in this area, developed 5 distinct types of cases when socially responsible organization, genuine and the caring organization. Then caring organization, no, socially responsible organization can gain from the higher cost of caring. Then they have to spend the money for caring. However, they can gain these benefits. What are the benefits? Opportunistic behavior can be avoided between owners and the manager. Then, through this genuine care or the caring or social responsible behavior, opportunistic behavior can be avoided. Avoid කරන්න පුළුවන් between owner and the manager. We know between owner and the manager there is a conflict because there is what the owner and the manager, between owner and the manager there is a agent's relationship. Agency එක. Manager present, manager act within the company because of the owner. Then manager become an urgent agent of the owner, therefore there is an agent relationship. Then therefore owner and manager always making conflict regarding the profit and the reward. uh, then through this caring principles or the practice we can avoid this type of opportunistic behavior. Then second one, getting moral satisfaction. Employer ready to work more for lower salaries because people know company giving more care. For the example, Japanese people, they are presenting, uh, they are ready to work more for lower salaries. For the example, when company facing a financial difficulties, the Japanese workers say, no, we are not expecting bonus, we are not expecting salary increment because of the company situation. අපේ රටේ එහෙම කරයිද? ඈ? අපේ රටේ එහෙම කරයිද? අපේ රටේ එහෙම කරන්නේ නැහැ. නමුත් ජෙනුයින් කෙයා එකක් තියෙන අර social responsible companies වල සේව්‍ය සේවක සම්බන්ධතාවය හරි අමුතුයි. අපේ වගේ නෙමෙයි. අපේ නම් හැමතිස්සෙම ස්ට්‍රයික් නේ. ඒ වගේ රටවල් වල සේවකයෝ කම්පැනි එක ලොස් වෙගෙන යනවා නම් මාකට් එකේ ත්‍රෙට් එකක් තියෙනවා නම් ඒ වගේ වෙලාවක ෆයිනෑන්ෂල් ෂූ එකක් තියෙනවා නම් සේවකයෝ සොකැමැත්තෙන් කියනවා බෝනස් එක එපා, ඉන්ක්‍රිමන්ට් එක එපා, අපි වැඩියෙන් වැඩ කරන්නම් පඩි එපා, OT එපා කියලා. Because employees are ready to work more for the lower salaries. Then third one, high quality new employees can be recruited because of genuine or caring organization. Then customers loyalty can be gained through the good network, and the trust of subcontractor can be established through genuine care.
Tractors can be established. In modern Western economics, there is only a little place for ethics. The Western economic man is allowed to consider the interest of others only if it serves his or her own interest.
Then fifth principle, generosity, ත්‍යාගශීලී භාවය. Then what is this ත්‍යාගශීලී භාවය? අපි ත්‍යාගශීලී විය යුතුයි කියන එක. In modern Western economics, there is only a little place for ethics. We know in the market, there is very rare case, rarely they present the ethics. The Western economic man is allowed to consider the interest of others only if it serves his or her own interest. අපේ සමාජෙත් බොහෝ අය මේ වගේ අය ඉන්නවා දැනටත්. තමන්ගේ අරමුණ ඉටි කරගන්න තමයි තමන් අනුන්ට උදව් කරනවා කියලා පෙන්නන්නේ. Then Western economic man is allowed to consider the interest of others. අනිත් අයගේ interest එක දැනගෙන බලනවා. අනිත් අයගේ interest එක ගැන බලනවා. Only if it serve his or her own interest. තමන්ගේ අරමුණ ඉෂ්ට වෙනවා නම්, then I concern your interest because I need to fulfill something from you. That is the Western philosophy.
Buddhist economics encourages generosity in business and social life. It usually works because people tend to reply what they get, and often they give back more in value than to the doer originally gave to them.
Then Buddhist economics encourage generosity, Tyagasila in business and social life. It usually works because people tend to reply what they get and often they give back more. ඔබට ලැබෙන්නේ මොනවාද ඊට වඩා වැඩි දෙයක් ඔබ අනිත් පැත්තට දෙනවා. What they give, sorry, reply what they get and often they give back more in value than to the doer originally gave to him. Huh? Then for the example, then I gave 100 rupees to you. In future, you give in monetary way or non-monetary way more than 100 rupees because of generosity. That is one another principle of Buddhist economy.
To reply what they get, and often they give back more in value than to the doer originally gave to them. Key points of Buddhist economics. Buddhist economics is a middle way of development, aiming to achieve maximum well-being with minimum consumption.
Then these are the key point of Buddhist economics. Buddhist economic is a middle way of development, aiming to achieve maximum well-being with minimum consumption. බඩ තිබුණ පළියට කන්න නෙවෙයි. සල්ලි තිබුණ පළියට කාගෙන කාගෙන යන්නත් නෙවෙයි. Then you have to control your desires.
Buddhist economics serves to purify human character through challenging and meaningful labor, as opposed to a focus on maximizing production and consumption. Promotes small-scale and localized economies as the way to alleviate the world of the problems created by a system devoid of moral values. Wealth should be attained and maintained through the principle of right livelihood and the consideration of generosity. Generosity leads to greater wealth and social status in the future. The country's ultimate aim should be to promote the spiritual improvement of a population.
Then it is clear, right livelihood. Right livelihood. Then we have to practice right livelihood. නිවැරදි ජීවිතයක් ගත කිරීම තමයි අපි කළ යුත්තේ. ඔකට කියන සමජීවිකා කියලා සංකල්පයක්. බුද්ධාගමේ තියෙන සමජීවිකා කියලා සංකල්පයක්. ඒ වගේම මේකේ ආපහු වෙම් කරන spiritual improvements. Then country's ultimate aim should be to promote the spiritual improvement of the population, not the material improvement. Not only the material improvement. We have to think about the material thing. Without bed, without a house, sometimes it is meaningless of our life. We have to think about the material. Material දේවල් හිතන්න ඕන. But when we are concerned in material, then again we have to think about spiritual improvement. Spiritual improvement. ආධ්‍යාත්මික දියුණුවක් ගැනත් අපි හිතන්න ඕන කියන එක බුද්ධිස්ට් ඉකොනොමි එකේ කියනවා.
Income redistribution is one way of reducing poverty which restricts spiritual growth.
Spiritual growth. ඒකට බාධක වෙන්නේ මේ poverty කියන එක. Therefore, income distribution is one way of reducing poverty which restricts spiritual growth. Then according to Buddhism, we have to distribute economical benefit for among the poor, rich, every people. Because if there is a gap between rich and the poor, then it is a issue to attain spiritual targets.
Dharmic action, such as generosity and other merits, supporting redistribution of wealth lead to an inevitable increase in the material wealth of the community. At the same time, regulation of the market is limited to activities which do not abide by right livelihood, no arms, drugs and so on. Buddhism is a practice of being, not a philosophy of becoming. It is real-time, not reactively rational, thus natural development is the key.
Then what is the Buddhism? Buddhism is practicing of being, not a philosophy of becoming. කවුරු කෙනෙක් වෙන්න ඕන කියන එකට වඩා practicing of being මේ මොහොත ගැන කතා කරන දෙයක් තමයි බුද්ධ ආගම. It is real time, not reactively rational. Thus natural development is the key. Okay, it is I think the last slide of this topic. Then there is another topic. The topic is gross national happiness toward a new paradigm in economics. Then up to this point, we are talking about the Buddhist Western economy and the Buddhist economy. Then Western economy, review the Western economy and identify the weaknesses or the issues of the Western economy, then propose new model, Buddhist model for the economy. Then Buddhist model emphasize simple desire, non-violence, minimizing desires, minimizing suffering, simplifying desires, practicing non-violence and genuine care, practicing genuine care and generosity. These are the model, the principles of Buddhism, Buddhist principle regarding the economy. Then here I am going to talk about an example of the Buddhist based economical system in the world. Then most of the time we are thinking all the countries practicing the Western economy. Yes, all the countries practicing the Western economy, but except one or two countries in the world. Then for the example, some countries reject the Western philosophies. Then there is a very popular concept, gross national production and gross domestic production. Then all the countries people use these two measures to show their economical strongness. However, in the world there is one country, the country is not assessing the gross national production or gross domestic production. The country assess gross national happiness. Gross national happiness. Okay. Then next week I will discuss gross national happiness. Today is enough, no? Okay. Then we will meet next කවද්ද? ලබනාංග හරුවාදා 3 5 ආපහු lecture එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒකට එන්න 25 දෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා. මේ 25 දෙනා අතරේ මම දැක්ක ඉස්සෙල්ලා මේ ජපුර කවුද එක්කෙනෙකුත් ඇවිත් ඉන්නවා.
නැස මගේ වෙන කවුන්ට එකින් මයික වෙලා මේකින්
ඒ කවුද ඔය කවුද ඔය
නෑස ගන්න එක ලබ් එක කවුන්ට එක
18,572ද
මොකක්ද
අංක 18,572ද
නෑ නැස අනුරාධ දය බණ්ඩාර කියලා මම පස්සේ රීනේම් කරගත්තේ
මේ දයා බණ්ඩාරගේ මල්ලි
ඔව්
අපේ සභාපතිය නැද්ද
ඉන්නවස
කොහෙද ඉන්නේ
ශාක්‍ය හුළුගල්ල කියලා තියෙන සර්
උඩින්ම ඉන්නේ ශාක්‍ය හුළුගල්ල ආගේ මම කැමරා රෙකෝඩ් කරන්නකො බලන්න
විනාඩියක් ඉන්න සර් ටී-ෂර්ට් එකක් දාගෙන ඉන්න
ඒ කියන්නේ ෂර්ට් එකකුත් නැතුව හත්ලා මීදලා තියෙන්නේ ඔච්චර පීදනේ නිව් ටෙක්නොලොජිය ඔව් උපසභාපති
ඉන්නස
බලන්න
මගේ බැක්ග්‍රවුන්් එක එච්චර හරි නෑ
මගේ බෑග්ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එක හරි නෑ තමයි ඔව් මෙයාද උපසභාපති මේ කාමරේ ලස්සනයි හොඳට පිළිවෙලක් තියෙනවා හරි අපි හුළු ගල්ල බලමුකෝ හුළු ගල්ල අම්මෝ රැවුල ගෙවල් කොහෙද
කඩවත
ඈ
කඩවත
ළඟ
ඔවුස
දැන් මොනවද කරන්න හිතන් ඉන්නේ
ඩිග්‍රියෙන් පස්සේ
නෑ සභාපතිකම අරගෙන
තියනවස දැන්ට මේ ප්ලෑන් කරගෙන යනවා පලවෙනි ඉවෙන්ට් එක විදිහට විමන්ස් ඩේ සෙලිබ්‍රේෂන් ඉවෙන්ට් එකක් ප්ලෑස්ටි කරලා තියෙනවස
ඔව් ඉතින් කොහොමද ගෑනුනේ වැඩි
මේ දවස්වල ඒකේ වැඩ කරගෙන යනවාස
දැන් ඔය ගෲප් එකේ පිරිමි ළමයි කීයක් ඉන්නවද
18ක් වගේන
70 කීයද
57කින්
57න් 18ක්
ඔව්
තුනෙන් එකක් වගේ ඉන්නවා දැන් විමන්ස් ඩේ කරනවා ඊට පස්සේ මෙන් ඩේ කරනවා ෆාදර් ඩේ එහෙමද
ඇස ඩිපාර්ට්මන්ට් එක ඉන්නත් බෑ ඒ නිසා මුලින්ම විමන්ස් ඩේකම කරන්න හිතුවා
ඒක හොඳයි හරි එහෙනම් මට මීටින් එකට එන්න බැරි වුණා මං එදා පොඩි ගමනක් ගිහින් හිටියේ කොහොමත් හිටියත් මං එන්නේ හිටියත් මම එන්නේ කොහොමද ඉතින් දැන් ආලා සභාපතිවරු ලේකම්වරු කෝ ලේකම් එක නැද්ද
ඉන්නවා සර් ඉන්නවා
කොහොමද මූණ
සර් මට මේ සිග්නල් අවුලක් තියෙන නිසා මේ කැම් එක ඔන් කරන්න බෑ එළියේ ඉන්නේ
හරි හොඳින් වැඩ කරගෙන යන්න ඇසෝසියේෂන් එකේ කොහොමද මේ කොවිඩ් එක හින්දා ප්‍රශ්න ගොඩක් තියෙනවා ෆිසිකලි හම්බ වෙන්න බැරි හින්දා ෆිසිකලි ඇක්ටිවිටීස් කරන්න බැරි වෙයි බලමු ඉතින් පුළුවන් කමක් තිබුණොත් අනාගතයේදී ඔයාලගේ ඇක්ටිවිටි වලට සම්බන්ධ වෙන්න නැත්නම් බොහෝ වෙලාවට මම පැත්තක ඉන්නේ විවිධ හේතු නිසා උත්තර කාලයක් ඔය ඇසෝසියේෂන් එකේ හොඳට රන් කරා දැන් නම් ඉතින් ඇසෝසියේෂන් රන් වෙන්නේ නැහැ කොවිඩ් ඉඳ කොහොමද රන් වෙන එක අඩු වෙයි හොඳට වැඩ කරගෙන යන්න මම සභාපතිගේ මට නම්බරේ දෙන්නකෝ මොකද දැන් ඔයා නේද සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ගෲප් එක හැන්ඩල් කරන්නේ මට ලෙක්චර් එකක් කරන්න කැන්සල් කරන්න එහෙම වුණොත් මම ඔයාට තමයි කතා කරන්නේ
මං සර්ට කෝල් එකක් දෙන්නම් මේකෙන් පස්සේ
හරි එහෙනම් ඕකේ මං එහෙනම් අතර උනා
හරි සර් තෑන්ක් යූ
සුබ දවසක්
තෑන්ක් යූ
thank you sir
ඕකේ